So I've been dressing up this board as the game went along because, again, it's retro. There's the 50th anniversary. This is the only time these teams are going to meet in Buffalo for the 50th anniversary. It's the last time these teams meet each other this season. So I made a magnet out of a Stan Smeel sticker from 1988, I believe that was, and a Tom Barrasso one for the Buffalo Sabres because I thought, why not? So there's Steamer. And the Canucks now have a record all time in Buffalo of 22, 29, 8, and 3. So that's 22 wins, 29 regulation losses, 8 ties, and 3 overtime losses or shootouts. How did we get to that 22nd win? Let's look at it. This is Hutton's first start in nearly a month. And based on how this game went, I don't know what you do if you're Buffalo, but Hutton does not have confidence. And this is where the conversations get difficult. There are good goaltenders and there's great goaltenders. And the good goaltenders will usually get pushed aside in favor of the great goaltenders. This is how good goaltenders end up in the American Hockey League. So Hutton had some good saves today, but there wasn't that great moment. And Buffalo needed that great moment. The Canucks get an early power play, and the shots were 8-0 in favor of the Canucks at the 5-minute mark. So, early on, Hutton looks pretty good. The Sabres got their first shot in 5.5 minutes. They got a power play, and they pushed the play from there. So they allowed the first 8 shots. They got the next 6. One of those 6 was Montour scoring from Dahlin and Eichel at 8:44. And it was a matter of the Canucks not being able to change players after their penalty kill. So they killed it off. This is not a power play goal, but they couldn't change their players. So you get hemmed into your own zone. It's one of those things that I kind of wish the NHL would track. Like I've talked about goals within 3 or 5 seconds after a power play's ended. I'd be interested to know as well, how often do teams score goals that aren't power play goals, but they have the team hemmed in their own zone. They're tired out. They don't let them get a change in. Maybe they get a change or 2 in that period in time, and they score. Momentum was definitely on the Sabres side until it's Brock Besser with a goal from Stetcher and Miller at 15:33. And rumors of Besser not having a great year are still out there, and I'm not sure where they come from because that's his 15th of the year. He's still on pace for about 30 goals. If that's going to be a bad year for Stetcher, I'll take it. So it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, Sabres had some early chances which were stopped. Virtanen net crashed. That caused a scrum, as it often does. Horvat would then get a goal from Pearson and Hughes at 3:44. And it deflected back to Bo off Pilot. So Bo's trying to pass the puck. It goes off Pilot's shin back to him. And there's an empty net as a result. So can't fault Hutton on that because he was just following the puck. The puck just happened to go back the other way. Gaudette then had a breakaway, which was broke up by Jake McCabe. Really nice play by McCabe on that one. Then there was a second penalty to the Canucks that was to Beagle. Beagle took a couple of calls today, sending the Sabres back to the power play. They would score on that one. Sam Reinhart with a really nice goal from Dahlin and Eichel at 6:25. The Sabres pushed it around the 9-minute mark. They hemmed the Canucks in. Again, it's this thing that I've seen this happening to the Canucks a lot lately, where they lose the puck in their own zone and they're completely lost. And it results in a lot of shots. That's part of the reason they've been allowing a lot of shots lately. They didn't allow very many today, comparatively speaking, with some of the recent games, which is good because the amount of shots they were allowing even in that winning streak, very, very troubling. Anyways, the pressure got the Sabres another power play. What happened on that power play? Well, not a goal. In fact, the best chance during that power play was Mott hitting a crossbar shorthanded. So Tyler Mott was that close to a huge momentum swing in the Canucks' favor. The Sabres then got a too many men on the ice call, and it was a lazy line change, I should say, during the power play that led to that penalty. So that makes it 4-on-4 briefly, and then there was this weird play where they come back from the break, referee's on the headset, and they're looking. And from the looks of one angle, the puck goes through the net. Okay, so it looked like it went under the crossbar, through the net, and out. And we've seen that where a puck will go right through the mesh. However, from another angle, you can tell the puck was about 2 feet above the net. It's just hard to see that the puck's above the crossbar instead of underneath at that speed, even in slow motion. But it was interesting because they spent a long time talking about it. And John Garrett actually talked to the war room after in Toronto. And they had the same problem where they're like, it looks like it's in. But it was that the goaltender kicks the net around the same time, so it made it look like the mesh was rippling from the puck, and it wasn't. Puck went over the net, went out of play. It was just weird, so it took them a while to ascertain what had actually happened. The Sabres pressured with about 4 minutes left. They looked like the fresher team late in that second period. I really thought the Sabres looked like the better team late in the second. Pettersson then whiffed on a last-minute chance, and Quinn Hughes hits a post at 36 with 36 seconds left, I should say, in the second period. So we go into the third period. We're tied at 2. Early, JT Miller scores from Pettersson at 1:17. Here's where you can nitpick. If you want to say, well, Hutton's responsible, you can kind of say that because it's rebound control, where the shot comes in and he saves it and he kicks it right back out to Miller. I would answer with defensive coverage just as much as goaltending. Defensemen should be out there clearing pucks away from their goalie when they make those saves, and that wasn't happening, so he kicks it right back to JT Miller. The assist goes to Elias Pettersson, and Miller had a really, really good game. JT Miller doesn't get a star. I'm going to give him an honorary one because, my God, this guy is just fantastic. And then the Canucks pressed for another one at 2.5 minutes. Didn't get it. Puck goes back the other way. And what happens? Gergensen scores from Okposo and Ristolainen at 3:28. There was a mild protest that it was a high stick by Markstrom. Canucks looked at it, didn't challenge. Good thing they didn't because it was not a high stick. That was below the bar. So Gergensen's gets one. Okposo and Ristolainen with the helpers. That ties the game back up. And it's like, okay, we're in for a really high-scoring game now. This is just going to be back and forth and back and forth. Kind of sort of is, but towards one net, not the other. Besser would score from Tanev at 6:24. So for those following along at home, that's 2 goals for Brock Besser. He had a very good game. He got close to the hat trick tonight as well. He wasn't able to get that. However, 1 minute and 14 seconds after he scored that, during a delayed penalty. So they get the goalie on the bench. Virtanen's the 6th player on the ice. He gets the goal. That's his 13th of the season from Mott and Gaudette. So 13 goals for Virtanen in, 44 games? He's a 20-goal scorer. Maybe 25. So Virtanen continues to quietly put together a really solid season for the Canucks. That made it 5-3. The Canucks then get a 3-on-2, which was stopped by Hutton. Besser had the shot there, and it looked like maybe Besser was going to get the hat trick. Didn't. Canucks pressured again at around 13 minutes. It really felt like that 5th goal just took all the starch out of the Buffalo Sabres. So they pulled the goalie with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. They called a timeout with 2:43 left to go over some kind of game plan here. It just felt like the wind was out of their sails at that point. Louis Eriksson would get the empty net goal. He's got 4 goals on the season. 2 of them are empty netters. He got that with the assists to Horvat and Pettersson. So Horvat with, that's 2 points for him, right? That's 1 goal and an assist. Nice to see Pearson get a helper. I thought he had a good game at 17:48. So Eichel has 2 assists in the loss, and your final score is 6-3 in favor of the Canucks. The Canucks right now are the number 2 wild card in the West, according to the actual NHL official stats and standings. Which means the Jets are out, technically. I say technically because when teams are tied and have the same record, I'm like, there's still a few games left before we can really talk about who's in or out. But for Buffalo, this is a very costly loss. They stay 7 points back of a playoff spot. They really needed this victory today because now they've played 45 games, they've got 45 points, and hope is fading fast. We talk a lot about McDavid and Eichel and whether or not repeatedly missing the playoffs will influence their desire to remain with the franchise. And it is a legitimate concern, I would think, if you're management for either team. That's why we're already hearing talk about whether or not Buffalo, should they finish well back of the playoffs and continue to play like they're playing now, whether or not Botterill might end up being out. So Besser, Horvat, and Hughes are your 3 stars. You might be able to argue Eichel with the 2 helpers, Dahlin with the 2 helpers, but it's 3 Canucks on that board. I'm pretty sure these are not the same stars that John Garrett had up for Sportsnet. Usually the 3 stars reported on the app are for the home team. So it's the home team. There's 2 sets of stars picked, the home team stars are the ones that are going to get picked. And I don't have problems with them outside of one. Usually just one. And we'll see tonight whether or not I have a problem with that one. And whether or not there needs to be a video on it. Because I can probably, because of the app, I could probably do a video on it, but not yet. So, Markstrom, 25 saves on 28 shots. Hutton, 29 saves on 34 shots. See, I got the goalie masks and everything. A lot of old magnets, people would have been like, oh, he probably doesn't have those anymore. Yeah, I've got all of them. There's a whole drawer of them right here. Whole drawer. Shots were 13-9 Vancouver in the first, 9-9 in the second, 13-10 in the third in favor of the Canucks. That's the old shoulder logo from their original Orcas. And this, of course, is the old shoulder logo for the Buffalo Sabres when they had the angry goat, as it's been called. Hits were 15-11 in favor of Buffalo. Power plays 0 for 2 for Vancouver, 1 for 3 for Buffalo. Interesting note from today's game: the giveaways were 8-0 in favor of the Sabres. That's not a number you want in your favor. So they gave the puck away 8 times. So they did 8 favors for the Canucks. And the fact the Canucks never gave the puck away, it makes a big difference in a game like this where there's a lot of scoring. But we'll see what the Buffalo Sabres do. As I said, they're in that position now where they and Montreal are 2 teams to keep an eye on because they're falling into that sellers category. And it's got to be very disappointing for Sabres especially because Montreal, you can look and say, well, we've got all these scorers that are out, so it makes sense. But for Buffalo, I think they're going to have to make some moves here. And I do wonder with Carter Hutton how much longer he's going to be a member of the Sabres. Because this was his first game in about a month, and it wasn't a great game for him. And he really needed a great game to kind of win back the trust of his coach. So for Linus Ullmark watching from the bench today, this might be the last time he watches from the bench for a while because Ullmark's been pretty darn good, and Hutton's numbers are still sagging. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding this game. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, yeah, Retro Day is still a thing. I'm still rocking a lot of different retros. That's the Vancouver Canucks throwback jersey and hat and all that. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.